it's just not hitting for me, especially since we've seen it for the last 6 months.
Got all the Scout fans in the audience there as well. Just love to see the live audience too, as we're going to be getting into picks and bans of game number 2 here. RA on the blue side, as we had said. We'll have LNG on that red side. 1-0 up so far in their home arena of Shuzhou. And now we have the Jace, the Zeri ban from RA. So some respect given over to Scout, but the Nico and the Vi by LNG.
This does mean that there is a missing ban here. They're not going to be able to get rid of Scout's Annie. And LNG sticking with some pretty similar bans, but the Rakan still available for Feather. I expect for RA, if they want to make sure that they can grab Feather, something that's going to allow them to make some early plays, link up with Leyen, that is something that they could prioritize, but there is a ton of champions for them to go for. The Yuumi is still available. They could go for that Aphelios again, or pick up the Wukong. There you go, and there's that Rakan.
There it is. So Feather going to get his comfort champion here on that Rakan. LNG might just feel confident to take this Zai on the other side. They did in game number 1 for Gala, and it will be the case yet again. So a very safe ADC for a would-be carry.
And LNG, they can just pick their mid laner here if they want. They can go for another Ahri pick if necessary. That Annie that was banned in the first game. Scout has been putting a lot of games onto this champion and has felt as impactful as much as you can with an Annie, especially with how much we've seen her rise this year, especially. Rare Adam could look to pick up another AD carry, look for maybe their jungle matchup for Leyen to try to get that before the next round of bans.
It is tried and true for LNG, though, getting something that can be mobile out of mid lane and connect with Tarzan. That has been the strongest 2v2 at least situation for LNG in a lot of their matchups. While they can rely on Gala later game, they do tend to find a lot of their leads through the priority Scout provides, but Tarzan's aggression. We will actually see Strive pick up that Ahri here as a response.
Into Zaya, what AD carry are you really going to want to pick up? It seems like for Rare Adam, they're going to wait. They're going to say there's a couple of pairings that we are feeling more than comfortable with for Assume as we head into the second phase, or waiting for the last pick here on the first phase for LNG. I did want to comment quickly. 2 weeks ago was actually Assume's 1-year anniversary for joining Rare Adam. So happy he's able to make it. And for Assume, who has been in the LPL for a little bit, is still kind of looking to make that journey as a fresh AD carry into the league, now cresting over the 2-year mark. Like, what can you do? Let's see what that journeyman looks like, experience looks like for this AD carry.
Originally started with Suning's LDL roster way back in the day in 2020. That does not feel like as a sub for the main roster as well, but then went to the Weibo Gaming Youth Camp and then ended up on LGD for a long while, at least one split. And then now here he is with Rare Adam for himself a bit of a representation in a league that is so full of so many great AD carries. For sure. And he's sitting across from him right now, Gala, who has himself found a new home coming into this split, and he's looking right at home there. Now we do get that Aphelios ban and the Draven ban towards Assume. The Draven ban definitely towards a comfort for him. We also get that Sejuani focus, and I'm sure continued jungle focus here for RA in the second ban phase. It is that
Whoa,
Viego.
no, guys, I'm so sad. That was a selfish pick for me. And LNG just slam it. You talked about it, about the draft and how they just were flying through the picks. LNG, they know exactly what they want. They're going to give no time for RA to kind of mull over some of their choices. Just getting everything they want. This Poppy is going to do wonders against the likes of what we've seen already for RA. And if you're going to take a immobile AD carry like a Jinx, there's going to be a Poppy living on top of her with the Annie, with this Nautilus.
Yeah, and that just combos so well with that duo. But let alone that, when we had the Poppy coming back into the meta last year, Tarzan and Tien were the ones I always looked towards, because they were the ones going for these crazy Hex Flash pathings that would just absolutely catch everyone awry at like level 2s. So I want to see if that continues to be the case here on this new age Poppy for Tarzan, but we do get a tried and true pick and a matchup we see consistently if left open. It is the Gwen versus Cassante in the top lane.
Okay, well, Zika now on a bit of a carry. We had set them up as more of those tank top laners, going for maybe a little bit more AD in terms of the bruisers. But here now goes for the counter pick here. So LNG are feeling more than comfortable with what they've gotten themselves. They have a lot of self-sufficient carries in terms of the Gwen, in terms of the Xayah, and great setup this time. Something that I thought if they weren't able to get ahead in game one, maybe they'd be lacking just a little bit. But Poppy, Nautilus, similar vein into, you know, hey, instead of a Maokai, we're getting more. And I will say, Lennon, I am happy that it's Poppy, not only because it's not Maokai, but you got more skill expression. There is a ton of cool things that Tarzan can do on this champ.
And also just putting the brakes on a lot of forward momentum that RA are going to be looking for, right? You catch a big all-outed Cassante with the keeper's verdict, well, you're not going to be all out, are you? And there's a lot of avenues here, a lot of mechanical expression. Honestly, across both teams, I love that Feather gets his comfort on the Rakan, but we're going to be getting into a game 2 that is a make or break in this best of 3 for RA. They got smacked upside the head and maybe a little bit of chokehold in game number 1 by Tarzan and co. Scout on that Jace was looking mighty fine, but it's LNG with expectations set on a win here and a potential sweep over RA in their home arena to get themselves to 4-2 and try to get those upper echelons. We see RA hitting the rift now to try to bring us to 3. Come over to RA and still have that and be able to represent it on the stage in a lot of these top tier matchups is really nice.
Wow, that early
Speaking
trade by Hung.
They might have it. That's a flash from Assume. He wants to try to get it. The cleanse comes through. One more. It's not enough. And now he's in a little bit of trouble as Gala steps up a little bit too far. There'll be trades in the 2v2.
Oh man, all right, well, this is a good start. I was gonna say the trade in mid lane for Strive means that he's gone through all of his corrupting pots and is still half HP, is chugging on them right now to make sure he's able to get back. Early level 2 here for Rare Adam's bot lane. A much better early game compared to what we saw in game 1, and hopefully it means that for them this will be a much more competitive game. As the bot lane there, I mean, Gala hanging on by a thread, trying to make sure that he's still alive and kind of baiting them in under the turret.
But that's why you pick this Xayah for Gala, because in an age where we can see Gala pop off on the likes of the Aphelioses, the Zeres, he can also be a late game carry if you just get him there. And a Xayah will get you there at some point. So definitely play into that game plan for LNG, and right back to the game 1 game plan of Tarzan bullying Lien.
Even Scouts moving on over, so finding that poke onto Strive is still paying dividends here. Land, the only camp he has on this bottom side are the Krugs, but look at what's happening. Hung, after getting back from that reset, is now either going to be able to look for a Hex Flash here, or they're just going to try and contest.
Oh, the hook actually connects. There's a TP now coming down. That will be Strive joining the fight. LNG in a 4v4. Big knockup from Feather. That's out of 3 members. The charm going to connect. Hung's going down. It's a trade back and forth, though. I think it was actually Strive that got first blood. And you look back across it, it is Chaos in game 1 that comes out on top for RA.
Okay, LNG going a little too far right there. Hung could not do much. There's not a lot of flash kills. We get to look at this replay. I mean, look at where the damage dealers are. Gala's nowhere near this fight. Scout is half health, and again, not in effective range. And all of RA were just playing this beautifully, especially after this.
Here.
Yeah, Feather, man.
Oh my god. But I think it's good heads-up play from LNG. They realize things are going awry. They turn back around as quickly as possible. And you actually saw there.
Tarzan, even avoiding this, already has the ward down first. Don't know if they're going to try and make this play. Scout is level 5 and does... Oh, Tarzan.
We got that engage there as well. Hung trying to get around the corner, but Tarzan will just go down to Lien. Strive on the other side, though. Lien getting low. He does get traded. So it will be jungle for jungle as both teams actually go back to lane.
It's funny. I will say Tarzan maybe showing a little bit of mechanical rust on the Poppy right now. The W's are just not coming out in time, and it allows for this team to engage, for them to escape, where maybe LNG were not expecting it. We're talking about that Feather engage comes out a little too late before the Grand entrance comes in, and here again, Tarzan goes down. It's more kills into the back pocket of RA. It is that 1-for-1 like you were talking about, but when Tarzan is not on the map, Radom are feeling very comfortable.
So far, my favorite part about this second game is the full commit. And we're seeing a full commit. And Assume you're going to commit to a death. Gala gets him on the board. 1 kill for the 80 carry of LNG.
Such a close fight right there. I mean, Assume almost had his flash. And so LNG, they have the opportunity. They can try to get this wave under the turret and then look to pressure onto the dragon. but are instead just kind of sitting here. You see Tarzan, he's not fully committing. Scout just drops the Tibbers on top of Strive, and he's like, all right, cool, so there's my trade. I'm going to control mid now as the
There's
Zanny.
3/4 of your health gone. What are you going to do now? Your move. I just threw a giant buff Teemo at you. Oh, look at that replay. The attempted engage from Feather, but it was a consistent 3v3 that we were watching develop, and then the trigger got pulled.
Exactly. Immediately after Hung uses some of his spells, it opens up for Feather to get down and dirty. It's exactly what we would expect from him on this Rakan, his most picked champion, the one that he has felt most comfortable with all split long.
Does that change things? Okay,
right.
Feather survives.
That actually does significantly change things. I don't think I can find
They're
this
going to go
here.
back in. Look for Scout, though. Scout wants a big
That's
Tibbers.
one.
He can't get in, though, as already Assume has claimed a kill and is running away speedily. Zika is here with that needlework. Should be able to sew down Lien to the grave. And he's trying to chase down Feather here as well. It will be a response. Both jugglers go down yet again.
Kills in their back pocket, and that just means gold for LNG as Feather, my man, you're just too far up. The start of this fight looks so good as Assume was able to find resets.
Yeah, they had a nice turn, right? And that's decisiveness that you don't see that often displayed right in front of you. But it's still the fact that LNG had all their guns ready to go.
They were even able, this is huge for them. This makes it so hard for them to contest. Now they're going to make an engage.
Over the wall. Scout went with the preemptive Tibbers, and it might have just made the fight. LNG go right to the heart of RA, and that might just be a little 1v1 going on in the side. Mega Death Rocket doesn't make a difference, though. Zika with a double kill. We're going to take a replay of that, and look at this flash from
damage that they can get a reset. The fact that Zika doesn't go down here, just a heartbreaker. It's as close as I think I'm going to get to Viego this game.
That
right now,
Hung,
you can see, yeah, they're just getting more kills. And in the picture-in-picture, with that redeploy, or with all of the backs coming from LNG, it is giving them a timer here to get some objective bounties, get some gold.
We got to go to the picture. Okay.
There you go.
They got the engage after a two-man keeper's verdict out, at least, but now the re-engage from RA onto the back line as Tarzan getting low, but he tanks up, and Scout has already taken Assume out of the play. As Xiaoshu's actually looking for Scout on the side, but he's all by himself into 4 members of LNG. This might not be the fight that you want, bud. And there he goes down to a double kill to Gala as Zeka is in the side lane. You know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We'll actually see a little bit of butter spreading here, though.
Yeah, Strive has to use the ultimate. You see that they're getting right back into this play, but no vision onto Scout. Look at where he is. This is another instance where the AD carry is in not a great position to actually deal damage, and Scout from Fog of War puts the Tippers on top of Assume, gets the cleanse, and just unable to deal anything. And unfortunate here for Xiaoshu, who teleports thinking that they might be able to turn around the play. And
it's actually RA that want to preemptively go onto him, but Gwen is immune. The dredge line doesn't connect. Gwen isn't immune for that long. Keeper's verdict came out. Gwen is maybe going down finally at the end of the fight. Xiaoshu all by himself yet again in the midst of LNG. And they find yet another advantageous fight. Although it is a 1-for-1, it just means that LNG can force RA's hand.
Walking into Fog of War, we'll see what RA can do. They could just go ahead and try to grab this dragon. And I think rightfully so. They recognize they don't do a single thing here.
Man.
This game is over.
That is literally the recreation of that cinematic where the dredge line just comes out of the trees trying to cook Ari. Like, Scout speaking of coming out of the trees. LNG are coming out of the woodwork here. And RA have no answer. That's a Baron in the eyes of LNG. From strength in this series to strength in their compositional strength going forward and strength in this last play.
Ah, man. It's so sad. 80 carry moment right there. Just didn't have the flash, didn't have the cleanse. It's a tough position to be in, even as does Jinx.
Going at him, man.
Yeah, Tarzan does not care. He is tanky enough. He can just walk at you with this W if he wants for bonus movement speed. He has Scout's shielding as well. The silver lining, I guess, for right now is that RA will get a little bit of gold thanks to Strive being on the opposite side of the map and getting some of those.
For LNG, they needed to come here and get this sweep. They needed to find that stability in their own right. They won over FPX, but it was a 2-1 hard-fought win, and now they're looking for a second in a row.
So far in the LPL, these last couple weeks, we've seen some of the lower standing teams as Xiaoshu gets caught out. This should be the last final push here for LNG.
Feather Storm going forward from Gala. You thought it was a defensive ulti, but it is aggressive in the hands of the star 80 carry. And LNG will put RA in their places here with a little bit of minion help, but no. We walk away. That's a TP on the backside here. Xiaoshu wants to make the difference. The player of the week for week number 2 in the top lane. Can he be it? He's not able to find any damage back. He goes down and traded. You got to assume getting excited, but Gala's even more excited as he's not even playing Jinx. Assume is getting very, very low and playing by that breath of his life. And it's just Feather going back in and trying to save it, but Scout had already taken out his ADC. Tarzan will find another death, but LNG will find another win.
Oh, let's go for LNG. Again, their schedule does not get much easier after this, but it's got to feel good. Seeing yourself at 4-2, a team that we're expecting to be in the top ends of playoffs, need to continue their streak here in the schedule if they want to make it at the end of the season.
And it just feels so damn good because Scout and Gala, we set them up as these are the carries of the team. If you're going to find success in later games, in decisions, it's Tarzan bridging the gap for these two if he can't find a lead of his own. And rightfully so, Scout ends up at 4-0 and some crazy amount of assists, and Gala ends at like 10-0 on the Xayah. So things are looking right as rain right now for LNG, and the way that they're approaching the game and the pieces are finally coming together for this roster.